Wow. Okay, so need to make a video here because OpenAI is looking at a $29 billion valuation. This on the strength of DALL-E and ChatGPT. So let's dig into what this actually means. Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reported that OpenAI, its investors and employees were going to receive a $300 million tender offer that would value the company at $29 billion. That means that two VC firms have approached the company and said, we will buy your privately held shares for $300 million at a valuation that would make the whole company worth $29 billion. This is just a year and a half after OpenAI was valued at $14 billion. This also comes maybe as we're bouncing along the bottom of an entirely bear market where growth stocks have been crushed across the world, some down double and even triple digits. Publicly traded companies like Shopify, Facebook down 60, 70, 80%. These are good leading tech stocks, and all privately held companies are getting slashed right now. Meanwhile, OpenAI has doubled. So in a normal market, does that mean they 4 or 5x where they should be? Maybe. So why? Okay, ChatGPT comes out at the end of November and takes the world by storm. Shows everybody what AI can do, and now the prevailing tailwind is that everything is moving towards AI. Okay, so you have that. They released DALL-E last year, the image generation software. There's so much froth right now in the AI market, and OpenAI is clearly leading the way. They have employees, and founder Sam Altman, who have shares, and Altman has said, we are not going public and we are not going to sell the company. Well, typically those are the two best ways for stakeholders to liquidate their shareholdings. When a company goes public, early employees get to trade their shares on a stock exchange when the lockup expires. And if a company gets acquired, those shares are usually bought out. But if they're not doing that, the only way for the shareholders and stakeholders to make any money off of it for now and in the near term would be to sell the shares privately. And that's okay for someone like Altman and the CEO and other executives and investors who have that sort of network. But for the developer employee who might hold $10 million worth of shares, he doesn't know where to turn, how to sell those things. And that's where this tender offer comes in. Two VC firms have offered upwards of $300 million to take these shares off the hands at a valuation of $29 billion. So does this make sense? Well, there's two ways of looking at it. One is the next bubble is going to be AI. And this feels very much, the name is Sam, this feels very much like FTX, and everybody's in OpenAI is the sexy new thing. If we checked it out, well, it's a little bit different. It's not necessarily a brokerage. You're not holding tons of customer cash. So that's a big part of this. But there are no way applying that OpenAI is a Ponzi scheme, just that it's getting the froth that SBF and FTX had. So is it worth it? Maybe. So OpenAI powers the API behind ChatGPT and DALL-E, but they also sell this API to developers who are building dozens, hundreds, thousands of apps on top of this API. Think in a way Amazon Web Services. Like 80% of the internet is ultimately using Amazon servers, and it's an unbelievably lucrative business for them. OpenAI is basically trying to do the same thing. Sure, they're going to create their own tools and products, and you do have to pay if you want more images on DALL-E, and eventually you're probably going to have to pay to use ChatGPT and other products they'll come out with, but they're never going to think of every use case. But if they open up the natural language API to developers, developers will build tools for accounting, for data scraping, for image generation, voice generation, text-to-speech, you name it, and they'll be using that API, and guess what? They're going to pay for it. And developers will sell their own products. That is probably the business that OpenAI will wind up being in. And when you're the technology that underpins potentially an entire industry, yes, then you're worth $29 billion. Maybe you become worth $1 trillion someday. The problem for OpenAI is they're not necessarily the only one in this game. Google has invested heavily in Lambda, and they haven't been as quick to market as OpenAI has, but that doesn't mean they're not going to release a product or an API or something else that's not just as good, if not better. Meanwhile, you have Apple that is now installing M1 and M2 chips in their MacBooks and iPads. Those chips are dominated like 20% by their neural network, fancy for AI. Apple is notoriously secret about what they're doing, and they don't tell people much, but don't think they haven't been collecting this data and building the capability to take advantage of neural networks and artificial intelligence for years now on their devices, which, by the way, this video is being recorded on, you might be watching it on. They can achieve instant scale. Privacy is a thing for Apple. They have doubled down more than any tech company on privacy. And if you use artificial intelligence right, you kind of do need to scour a lot of data to train an algorithm. So it'll be interesting to see how Apple squares the AI API game if they're careful with people's data. You have other companies out there doing this as well. So OpenAI is not the guaranteed winner, but it's clear they are the first mover and they have the technology, the sexy technology that everybody wants to move on. And in the grand scheme of the tech world, 29 billion isn't that much when you consider the market cap of Apple, which reached 2 trillion. Not saying they're going to be the next Apple, but you have headroom to go well beyond the current valuation. So right now, you see investors seeing a potential grand slam company they can invest in. You have employees and shareholders who want to get some money because now they have something of value. And in this market where everything is down, growth stocks are down, no one buys a growth story, world-changing technology, guess what? That always sells, even in bear markets. Listen, if you like this breakdown and you understand just a little bit more right now about OpenAI and the valuation and this investment, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, what would you like us to talk about next, and make sure you visit our website, smokingrobot.ai. Each day we post the latest and coolest AI tools, plugins, and apps that you can use to optimize your workflow, save time, and earn money. We also have a newsletter, smokingrobot.ai. Sign up in your inbox every day. More videos coming here. Thanks for watching.